word that sits as a highly negative connotation towards most teenagers. Homework has been around since the first public schools began and become a common part of students' lives in education. They do their schoolwork at school and they're assigned homework at home. It's become such a normal routine that it doesn't seem to be questioned or reevaluated. Homework may have been beneficial at the time, but what about now? Things are always changing and evolving with evolution. So what about the education system's idea of homework? Perhaps it's time for a change in the way homework is given, whether to be kept, limited, or even banned. That's what this documentary is all about. We will get an inside opinion from teachers and students alike, discussing their thoughts on homework by answering a few simple questions. Join us today for the special edition documentary, Homework, the Silent Killer. These interviews you're about to see were all conducted and recorded at Park Hill High School. We interviewed 4 teachers that teach different subjects and 5 students to gather information and their thoughts on homework. These are our results. Please enjoy.
A couple times a week, maybe.
For my AP class, I have homework every night. It's not homework that I collect, it's reading assignments. And the expectation is that they read and answer a few questions and complete some note cards. For my regular high school psychology class, homework maybe once or twice a week. And then for my avid students, they have homework twice a week in the form of a TRF.
Every day.
I never assign homework because I don't believe in homework. Homework is an abundant waste of time.
Math classes have homework the most frequently. The Metlife study found that 70% of students in grades 3 to 12 had at least one homework assignment in math a night.
Sometimes, not consistently.
I think that students are going to get out of homework whatever they put into homework. Big aspect of homework, really less of the physical, tangible, what you turn in, but more of the practice. As we know, that the more you practice something, the more efficient you're going to become.
Absolutely.
You're actually in class doing the material in class and working hard, really, really hard for an hour and a half. You're more likely to learn more and retain more than going home and doing bogus homework assignments.
I remember sitting at my desk and having math homework. I remember being assigned, pages to read out of textbooks and things like that. So I don't know if I recall a big shift and change in homework. If anything, I think with technology, students now can collaborate a lot easier than perhaps they used to. And then with digital textbooks and things, it would be easy for me. I was an athlete in high school. It would be easy for me to have my homework right in front of me. A textbook, a worksheet, whatever it might be, and complete that on an hour drive to a meet or something. Whereas, as we shift to laptops and textbooks that are online, that can sometimes become more difficult for students if they can't access the work or the textbook because they're on a bus, for example.
Get out the book and do the odds in the back, and just went through 80 odds or something like that. And I know now I create worksheets, and there's things online you have to go to sometimes, so it can be a lot different.
There's less of it now. I think homework was focused on more heavily when I was in school.
They've given more. Teachers give homework assignments because they want to give the impression that they're being hard on you, and guess what? 99% of all homework assignments don't get graded. Here's what they do. They give you a homework assignment, and they put a little check mark to make sure that you did it. And they put it in the grade book, right? They didn't check to see whether or not you mastered the skill. They just want you to go through a seemingly ridiculous hoop in order to get a score. They're not checking mastery through homework.
Find out what the students have to say when we return with Homework, the Silent Killer.
Nowhere to run? Nowhere to ride? Now wherever there's carpet, blast off with Fun Slides, the amazing carpet skates that glide, slide, or ride. You decide. Race with them, play games with them, or just cruise with them. Even your dog will want to fun slide. Maybe not. Down the hall, around tables and chairs. Fun slide all over, but walk down the stairs. Fun slides are totally kid-powered and safe for any carpet. And they've won the National Parenting Center seal of approval. So strap them on and see where they take you.
We now return to Homework, the Silent Killer.
Yes, I do.
Why?
I feel like you can retain a lot more information by practicing it with homework.
Yeah, I do, because it helps you memorize stuff and you can go over things.
No, because it creates a lot of stress on students.
Only if you're struggling in class.
It can be and cannot. So, cause sometimes the homework don't be about what's on the test, so dumb in the fact. But other than that, yeah.
The National Center for Educational Statistics found that high school students who do homework outside of school average 6.8 hours per week.
2 to 3 hours of homework.
3.
I get about 5 hours.
Probably an hour.
I constantly battle finding the balance between how much I should assign and how much I do assign. It's tough because I know that students have 7 classes other than mine and are involved with lots of other things, and so it can be difficult to say, here's an hour's worth of homework, knowing that if the other 7 teachers do the exact same thing, they have 8 hours of homework.
I know that it's a lot of homework and it gets pretty rough, but it's an AP course and it's what they need to be successful.
A 2007 Metlife study found that 44% of students in grades 3 to 12 spend more than an hour a night doing homework, including the 6% of students who report spending more than 3 hours a night on their homework.
Yes, a lot of sports and just a lot of other activities.
Yes, swimming and band.
And how much of that time does it usually take?
2.5 hours.
Okay. A night?
Yes, for swim.
Yes, I do track and I do bands, so that's a lot of time.
It's a lot of time. Yeah. Oh, yeah, it is a lot of time. How much time does that take up of your evening?
Probably till around 9.
I'm involved in robotics, which takes up a lot of my time, and so homework becomes really stressful to me because I get so much of it. We only meet Tuesdays and Thursdays now.
Working Wendy's about 3 or 4 days out the week, so sometimes.
I know that if a student has a sport or a club after school and they have a job after school, a lot of that homework's not going to get done. So as far as my expectation of them doing that work, I don't necessarily expect them to do that work. There's a lot on that student's plate, and one of those things is going to suffer. They're either not going to do as well at work because they're trying to do their homework, they might not be as successful in their sport because they're distracted, or they might not be as successful in school. It's hard to juggle those things. Time management is a big thing. Trying to figure out where this all fits in can be tricky.
Really have to time manage. I think a lot of teachers are lenient if they are willing to put in the work and find that time that, if they get it done a couple days after the assignment. But yeah, that's tough. A lot of kids taking 5 AP classes and sports and everything, they have to really time manage.
If you're working hard during the day and mastering the skills, then you shouldn't really need homework. So those kids who are out there trying to live in the real world as high schoolers, What? No. Homework is a waste of time.
A lot. I procrastinate a lot. I always shove it off to the last minute.
Quite a bit.
Very little.
Almost 3 times a day.
On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest, probably a 5.
Yes, especially big projects.
Yes,
Why?
because I have a lot to do on one day, and I could just space it out on all the other day.
Yes, because I have to do it the next day.
It causes lots of stress and anxiety.
Sometimes stress, but not anxiety though.
38% of students in grades 7 through 12 and 28% of students in grades 3 through 6 report being very often or often stressed out by their homework.
Yes, very much so.
Yes, I go to bed late and I wake up late.
No. Well, it could, but it doesn't.
Yes, I mean, sometimes I have to stay up all night studying, and then I just perform not as well as I would have if I didn't study and slept because of sleep deprivation.
Well, yeah, sometimes, like, if I procrastinate from it, yeah.
What I don't expect students to do is be up until 3 or 4 in the morning trying to make sure they're getting their work done, because sleep is so important to you all. So important to the brain that if you're depriving yourself sleep because you have a club and a sport and a job and you try to do homework, when you go to school the next day, you're not going to be able to focus anyway.
Yes.
Sometimes.
Yes.
No. Well, sometimes.
I mean, I'm tempted to, but I do not cheat.
Okay. Yeah, whatever, man. How often?
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
Once in a while.
Okay.
0.
The homework gives me the urge to cheat because whenever I don't turn in homework, my grade goes down, and so I want to make up for it on my tests. So I cheat.
I don't cheat. That's a sin.
With mixed results gathered from students and teachers alike, it is safe to say that the question to keep homework or to get rid of it is a bit iffy at best. While it appears that the student body doesn't explicitly say they cheat, a lot of the students just don't have the time to finish their homework. With the internet as big as it is today and growing bigger each day, answers to all kinds of worksheets are available for students to find and copy. This raises a big question for homework, as it will become less beneficial if things keep moving in this direction. Homework isn't as important as it once was, and yet is still being used in the education system. Perhaps students who need more assistance can get a take-home worksheet or another method of better understanding the subject, but it doesn't need to be required and applied to every student. But for now, homework will just be another topic to debate instead of getting the results we need to take action and make the difference once and for all.
Tough structure for learning. It is. It's the hand that we are dealt. But there's not a lot of research that supports the way that we go about teaching and the way that we expect students to learn. You sit in a desk from 7:30 in the morning until 2:30 in the afternoon. That's a lot of information to take in one day. And then you do it again the very next day with new information. So I guess kind of the cheap answer would be we're kind of setting you up for a tough time to learn. But recognizing that's what we're given, the idea behind homework being, if I'm trying to teach you this concept today, and then you don't think about that concept again until 2 or 3 weeks from now, there's a really good chance you're not going to remember any of it. So at least my philosophy behind homework is, I need you to go back and address that information at some point between now and when I assess you over it. And so if that means you need to reread your notes and highlight some main ideas, if you need to write a summary over your notes, if you need to do a worksheet that covers some of the concepts, whatever it might be, the main goal should be to readdress that information, because we pile and pile and pile information on you. If you don't think about it again, you're doomed to fail. You're in school for 8 hours. We then ask you to do more schoolwork when you get home. It's tough. I think that the question is somewhat loaded, and that's okay, but it's a tough situation without homework, and it's even more difficult when we add that homework to it.
Okay, that's it. Thank you, Mr. Harmon.
I don't know if I answered that last question.
Well, I mean,
I didn't really answer it.
Wake me up inside. I can't wake up.